From late last night I was at this big event at a church that I visited. A car ride back home I mentioned I wanted to talk to the pastor about the Sabbath. People have the right to know. Other person replied, Sabbath not going to save you, only Jesus. Someone said that to me. At the time I was speechless. I second-guessed myself, which I shouldn't. I just woke up. Immediately I thought of this verse. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Mark 2:28. So it come clear. Jesus. Sabbath. What two important commands Jesus wanted for us to keep? Jesus replied, Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Matthew 22:37. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22:39. How to love your God. By following His 10 commandments that He created. What's number 4? Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Remember, for God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through Him. John 3:17. This verse confirms that we should believe in Jesus also on what He says. Whoever believes in the Son has eternal life, but whoever rejects the Son will not see life, for God's wrath remains on them. John 3:36. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. Matthew 7:26. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time year after year. Exodus 13:10. For whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at just one point is guilty of breaking all of it. James 2:10. This verse emphasizes that even a small fault or sin can make one guilty under the law. It reflects the idea that God's standards are perfect, and that true righteousness requires adherence to all aspects of His law. It also underscores the need for grace, as no one can fully keep the law on their own. Everyone is to focus on. Which sin is bad? Don't get me wrong, we don't want to sin, but our main focus are these laws. Then He taught me and He said to me, Take hold of my words with all your heart, keep my commands and you will live. Proverbs 4:4. What shall we say then? Is the law sinful? Certainly not. Nevertheless, I would not have known what sin was had it not been for the law. For I would not have known what coveting really was if the law had not said, You shall not covet. Romans 7:7. These laws help us understand what is right and what is wrong. Okay, straight to the point. Jesus wanted us to keep His commands. If you love me, keep my commands. John 14:15. Jesus replied, Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. John 14:23. Anyone who does not love me will not obey my teaching. These words you hear are not my own. They belong to the Father who sent me. John 14:24. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Matthew 7:21. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and in your name drive out demons and in your name perform many miracles? Matthew 7:22. Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. Matthew 7:23. Reason I add that there because it makes sense. If you follow His teaching, you'll live peacefully. However, if you decide to live a life the way you wanted, and Jesus doesn't see you following Him,